As the night deepens, feel the quiet truth. Rebirth isn't distant. It's the gentle rhythm of your breath right now. Let the Dharma's ancient wisdom cradle your rest, dissolving the illusion of separation. Share with us below. What time is it where you are? What quiet moment holds your reflection, and where you find peace tonight? Your presence here, in this stillness, is the path. Now, let karma's gentle flow guide your evening into deeper ease. Evening settles like a soft blanket over the world. The air holds its breath. The streetlights cast gentle pools of gold on quiet streets. In this deepening calm, notice the rhythm of your own breath, steady and unhurried. It's a reminder that the profound wisdom of rebirth isn't some distant event, but woven into the very fabric of this moment, this gentle flow of ordinary life. Today, we explore karma not as a heavy burden or distant law, but as the natural, gentle rhythm of cause and effect unfolding in the small spaces between your thoughts and actions. Karma is the quiet pulse of our daily existence. It's the subtle energy set in motion by the choices we make, often without conscious thought, as we move through the day. It's not about grand, dramatic deeds, but the quiet accumulation of countless tiny moments. The way you pause to offer a genuine smile to a stranger, the care you take in choosing kind words over sharp ones, the moment you choose to listen deeply instead of interrupting. These are the gentle ripples on the surface of your day. Each one creates a subtle current, shaping the experience of that moment and the moments that follow, like a single drop of water creating concentric circles on still pond water. The ripples may seem small, almost imperceptible, yet they carry the subtle weight of your intention, influencing the quality of your own presence and the space you create for others. Consider the simple act of making tea in the evening. You choose to pour the water with care, not hurriedly, noticing the steam rising in slow spirals. You place the cup gently on the table for someone else, perhaps without a word. This small choice, the attention given to the pouring, the offering of the cup, creates a ripple. It might make someone else feel seen, or simply create a moment of shared quiet ease in the room. The ripples extend beyond the immediate action. They soften your own heart, perhaps inspiring you to choose patience later when a small frustration arises. The tea steam, the gentle warmth of the cup, these are not accidents. They are the visible echo of that quiet intention, the natural expression of karma in motion. So, as you sit now in this quiet evening, take a soft pause. Reflect gently on your own day. What one small action today aligned with kindness? Not a major gesture, but a tiny spark of warmth in the ordinary. Was it the moment you held the door, or simply the way you spoke to a colleague? Or the choice to take a deep breath before responding? Notice the quiet feeling that followed, the subtle shift in the air around you. even if only for a moment. This is the gentle flow of karma you are already living, the natural rhythm of your being in the world. As you notice these gentle ripples in your own daily life, you begin to see how samsara's illusion shapes our perception. We often mistake these flowing patterns for a fixed, solid reality, a separate self constantly struggling against the current. But when you observe karma's quiet rhythm, the way small kindnesses ripple out, the way small impatience creates tension, you see the illusion dissolving. You see the interconnected flow, the gentle dance of cause and effect, not as a cage, but as the very texture of this present moment, this peaceful evening. The illusion fades, revealing the simple, beautiful truth of the flow itself. As evening settles, the room breathes with quiet ease, candlelight softening the edges of the world. You might notice the gentle rhythm of your own breath, the quiet pulse of now. This is where wisdom begins, not in distant realms but here, in the quiet space between thoughts. Samsara is not a cycle you're trapped within, nor a prison of fixed destiny. It is a perceptual pattern, a subtle way the mind constructs a story of separation and struggle, like mist rising from a still pond on a cool evening. It appears real until you look closely. Observe it with gentle curiosity, and the mist dissolves into the air, revealing the pond's clear surface beneath. Samsara is the same, a mist of thought, a habitual way of seeing the world as separate, as difficult, as something to escape. It dissolves when observed clearly, not by forcing it away, but by simply seeing it as what it is, a passing thought, a temporary arrangement of feeling. You might feel it in the tightness of your shoulders when work feels overwhelming, or in the restless loop of worry about tomorrow. But that tightness, that worry, they are not the truth of your being. They are the mist, the illusion of being stuck in a place that only exists in the mind. Now, take a slow breath in, and as you breathe out, ask gently, where does the feeling of being trapped by samsara show up in your breath right now? Is it in the way you hold your chest when you think of a challenge? Or in the way you hurry through this quiet moment, as if time itself is a cage? Notice it without judgment, simply as a pattern, like the mist on the pond. See how it's woven from 1,000 small thoughts, a habit of seeing the world as heavy, as separate from your peace. This is the gentle wisdom of the Dharma. The prison is not real. The walls are made of thought. The key is not to break free from a cage that doesn't exist, but to see the cage for what it is, a mist, dissolving in the light of awareness. The small intentional actions you take each day, the tiny ripples of kindness or patience you offer yourself and others, they are not distant steps toward a future escape. They are the very water of the pond, clear and present. Each moment of awareness, each breath of calm, is a gentle reminder that the illusion is dissolving. You are not caught in a cycle. You are the awareness that sees the cycle. The feeling of being trapped is not your reality. It is the mist, and you are the clear sky. So let the mist rise, and let it fade. In this quiet space, with the evening deepening around you, the question becomes simple. Where is the mist right now, and what does it mean to see it dissolve? Recognizing samsara's illusion invites us to explore rebirth in the present. As the evening settles and the world softens into quiet, consider the gentle rhythm of your own choices. Not the grand, sweeping decisions that echo through your life, but the quiet moments where you simply choose how to meet the next breath. Every choice plants a seed in the garden of your awareness. It is not a heavy burden, but the subtle water of attention given to a single moment. Even unnoticed moments shape your inner landscape, like the slow unfurling of a leaf in the dawn light, unseen yet profoundly altering the shape of the garden. Imagine this: you reach for your morning tea instead of coffee. It is a small thing, easily forgotten. Yet in that choice, a seed is planted. You pause for a moment to feel the warmth of the cup, the steam rising in the quiet kitchen. You notice the scent, the gentle heat, the space between the thought of needing caffeine and the actual act of sipping. This tiny pause is not insignificant. It is a ripple in the pond of your present awareness. It shapes the texture of your morning, the quality of your attention, the very soil where your next thought will take root. Karma is not a distant law, but this very moment of choice, this subtle shift in how you inhabit the space between your breath and the world. Reflect now on your own day. Did you choose to listen fully to a friend, even for a moment, rather than checking your phone? Did you take a slow breath when tension arose, instead of reacting? Did you choose kindness towards a stranger? A small word spoken gently. These are not trivial. They are the seeds you plant in the garden of your awareness, shaping the very ground upon which your peace or restlessness grows. How did a small decision today affect your inner peace? Did choosing patience in a minor delay create a space of calm? Or did a quick judgment tighten the knot in your chest? The influence is subtle, like the quiet hum of a single candle, yet it colors the entire room of your being. It is not about moral judgment, but about the quiet, profound truth. Every moment of attention, every choice of how to meet the present, is a gentle shaping of your inner world. This is the quiet wisdom of samsara's illusion dissolving not through grand revelations, but through the tender care given to the smallest choices. Samsara, the perceived cycle of separation, dissolves not when we escape the world, but when we recognize the profound reality within each ordinary moment. The choice of tea, the breath, the word, these are not separate from the cycle. They are the very texture of the now, revealing that the illusion was never a prison. but a pattern of thought we can gently observe and reshape. When you truly see how a small choice shapes your inner landscape, you begin to meet life not as a series of rebirths to be feared, but as a continuous, flowing present moment. This awareness prepares us to meet rebirth as a present moment experience. As the ripple from your mindful choice continues to spread across the pond of this very moment, notice how the water holds the shape of the stone without holding onto it. This gentle flow is samsara, not a heavy wheel turning in isolation, but the quiet dance of causes and conditions unfolding, like breath in the stillness of a quiet night. No single moment stands alone. Each breath, each thought, each step you take is woven into the whole tapestry of existence, inseparable from the light of awareness itself. The illusion of a separate self trapped within a cycle dissolves when we see that the cycle is not a cage, but the very fabric of life breathing through us. Consider the stream flowing beneath the old bridge. A single leaf drifts on its surface, carried by currents unseen. It does not resist the water's movement, nor claim ownership of the path it follows. The leaf's journey is shaped by the rain that fell yesterday, the wind that stirred the tree, the sun that warmed the earth, and the stream's own patient flow. Each element influences the next, yet no single leaf is the stream, nor is the stream the leaf. The leaf simply moves with the water, part of the dance. This is samsara, not a prison of repetition, but the natural rhythm of interdependence, where every drop of water, every falling leaf, every thought in your mind is a note in a silent, ever-changing melody. Reflect now on your own quiet rhythm. What pattern in your life feels so automatic it flows without thought? Perhaps it is the way you reach for your morning coffee before your eyes open, or the way your shoulders tense when you hear a particular sound, or the gentle sigh you take when the day's work ends. Notice how these patterns arise, not from a fixed point called you, but from a web of habits, memories, and the subtle currents of your present awareness. They are not your cage, they are the dance itself, showing you how causes and conditions shape every moment. When you see your automatic habits not as separate problems, but as part of the whole flow, the tightness in your chest eases. You begin to see the pattern as a gentle current, not a chain. This is the quiet wisdom of the cycle. It is not something to escape, but to understand as it is. The more you observe your own automatic rhythms with kindness, the less they feel like burdens, and the more they reveal the spaciousness of awareness holding them. The leaf does not struggle against the stream, it simply is the stream. In this observation, the illusion of a separate self caught in an endless loop begins to soften, like mist dissolving in the morning sun. You realize that the self trying to break free was never separate from the dance to begin with. The cycle is the dance, and you are the dance. This understanding dissolves the illusion of separate self in the cycle. As the night deepens, and the world settles into its quiet rhythm. Notice how the simple act of breathing becomes a gentle revelation. Rebirth is not a distant event waiting beyond the veil of death. Nor is it a future destination we must strive toward. It is this very moment, unfolding as awareness renews itself with every inhalation and exhalation. The constant renewal of awareness happens here, now, in the space between thoughts, in the quiet pause before the next breath begins. Each breath is a fresh start, unburdened by the weight of yesterday's worries or tomorrow's anxieties. There is no past to carry, no future to chase, only this breath, this present moment, fully alive and new. Imagine an old Zen master sitting in the stillness of a moonlit garden. He lifts a cup of tea, steam rising like a sigh. He does not think of the tea he drank an hour ago, nor the next sip he will take. He simply feels the warmth of the cup, the gentle aroma, the way the steam curls against the cool night air. In that single, unbroken moment, he is reborn, not because time has turned, but because his awareness has released all clinging to what was or what might be. The cup, the steam, the night, these are not separate from him. They are the dance of causes and conditions, the very fabric of this present moment. There is no need to escape samsara, for in this mindful attention, samsara dissolves into the clarity of what is. The illusion of a separate self fades, not through effort, but through simply being present with the tea, the steam, the night. So, as you sit here in the quiet, let your awareness rest in the next breath. Feel the air moving through your body, the subtle rise and fall of your chest. No need to fix anything. No need to hold on to anything. How might you meet this breath as a fresh start? Not as a repetition of the past, but as an entirely new beginning, untouched by the stories you tell yourself about who you are or what has happened. In this simplicity, there is no struggle. Only the quiet ease of being exactly where you are, without judgment or expectation. The past is a shadow that cannot touch the present. The future is a mirage that dissolves when you look directly at what is. This moment is your rebirth, your return to the natural flow of life itself. This present moment rebirth reveals how thoughts shape our experience. Feel the quiet weight of your breath as it flows in and out, a gentle rhythm you've never been without. This is not a moment you're waiting for rebirth to begin. It is the very ground of rebirth itself. There is no separate moment before or after this breath. The past is only the memory of this breath held too long. The future, the shadow of it still to come. Only the unfolding present exists, soft and continuous like the slow unfurling of a new leaf in morning light. Suffering arises not from the changing nature of life, but from the subtle tension of resisting this flow, clinging to what was, fearing what will be, and missing the peace already here. When you tighten your grip on a moment, You create the illusion of a cage around the present, but the cage is only your own resistance. Imagine a single leaf falling from a branch on a still evening. It does not think, "I will fall later," nor does it mourn the branch it left. It simply falls, meeting the air, the earth, the quiet space of its own movement. It is not waiting for the fall to begin. The falling is the being of the leaf. This is the natural rhythm of the present moment. Your thoughts, your feelings, your very sense of self, these are not separate events happening in time. They are the continuous unfolding itself, like the leaf's fall, happening now, not in some future rebirth. When you notice the tightness in your shoulders as you rush toward an appointment, or the frustration when a thought repeats, ask yourself, is this resistance to the present moment? That tension is the root of suffering, not the moment itself. Reflect quietly on this. When did you last feel completely present? Perhaps it was when you noticed the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of rain on the roof, or the simple act of watching your breath without adding a single word. Not the memory of it, but the actual feeling of being fully here, without the need to fix anything or hurry somewhere else. In that moment, there was no before to escape from, no after to reach, only the soft, clear space of being. That is rebirth, not a distant promise, but the very ground of your awareness right now. This is not about achieving a special state. It is about seeing clearly the truth of each moment as it is. When you stop fighting the flow of this breath, this thought, this feeling, you discover a quiet ease. The effort to be somewhere else dissolves, and you rest in the natural movement of life. The resistance fades, and the present moment reveals itself as spacious, open, and already whole. This is the simplicity of rebirth in the now. As we gently notice thoughts without judgment, we release the subtle attachment to how things should be. We step out of the story of before and after, and simply rest in the unfolding. This quiet release is the preparation for the next moment of awareness, where rebirth is not a concept, but the very breath you are taking. Tonight, as the world settles into its quiet rhythm, notice the simple gift of your breath. It moves through you, unbroken and ever present, a steady pulse beneath the surface of thought. This breath is not a thing to grasp or a moment to wait for. It is the very ground of your being, the unchanging anchor in the flow of life. Feel it now, as you read these words, as you listen to the soft silence of the night. Inhale, a gentle gathering of stillness. Exhale, a quiet release of all that is not here. This is the foundation of rebirth, not a distant possibility, but the living reality of this very breath. When the mind is still, when you stop chasing tomorrow's worries or clinging to yesterday's regrets, the illusion of time dissolves, You see rebirth not as something that happens to you in a future lifetime, but as the constant, natural renewal happening right here, right now. Each inhalation is a fresh beginning, a soft unfolding of awareness. Each exhalation is a letting go, a gentle release of the old. The breath reveals that rebirth is not a single event, but the continuous, effortless flow of presence itself. It is the river flowing, not the destination. Imagine walking through a quiet garden at dusk, the air cool and soft. You notice a single leaf falling slowly, turning in the gentle breeze. You do not think, "This leaf will fall tomorrow," or "I must remember this moment later." You simply see it fall, feel the peace of the stillness, and breathe with the quiet in that moment. There is no past or future, only the leaf, the breeze, and your breath. This is how rebirth is lived, not in thought, but in the felt sense of being fully here, with no need to hold on to anything. The leaf falls, and the moment is complete, yet it is also a new beginning. So it is with your breath. Reflect quietly on your own breath now. How does it change when you stop worrying about what comes next? When you truly let go of tomorrow, does the breath deepen? Does it soften, becoming longer, quieter, more grounded? Does it feel less like a struggle and more like a natural, effortless movement, like water flowing over stone? In that shift, you may notice a quiet joy, the joy of simply being without the weight of expectation. This is the peace of rebirth, not a future state, but the freedom found in releasing the need for anything to be different than it is, right here, right now. As you breathe into this stillness, know that you are not separate from the rhythm of the universe. The same stillness that holds your breath holds the falling leaf, the turning of the moon, the endless cycle of change and renewal. You are not waiting for rebirth, you are living it, breath by breath. In the quiet space between thoughts, the mind may still chatter, but beneath it, the breath remains steady, a constant reminder of the unbroken now. This stillness makes impermanence visible in quiet moonlight. As the night deepens, the world settles into a soft hush. The rustle of leaves, the distant hum of the world, all fade into the quiet embrace of the dark. In this stillness, the mind often seeks to fill the space, to name the silence or chase the thoughts that arise. But let us rest here, simply breathing, feeling the cool air enter and leave the body with each gentle inhale and exhale. Notice how the quiet of the night does not leave us empty, but rather reveals a deeper fullness within. It is not a void waiting to be filled, but a spacious awareness that has always been here, present in the very rhythm of your breath. The silence amplifies the stillness within. making it possible to feel the unbroken continuity of awareness that flows with every moment, just as the river flows without needing to be told to move. There is no separation between the quiet outside and the quiet within. They are one seamless current. This is the nature of rebirth, not as something to be achieved in the future, but as the very ground of our being right now, in this breath, in this quiet hour. Imagine a single candle flame burning steadily in a room of deep night. The flame does not fight the darkness, it simply is. Its gentle light, a presence within the quiet. The darkness is not the absence of light, but the space that allows the flame's subtle glow to be seen, to be felt. In the same way, the silence of the night is not emptiness, but the very space that reveals the fullness of our awareness. It is the canvas upon which the quiet joy of simply being becomes visible. What does this silence teach you about your true nature? It teaches that you are not the thoughts that arise, nor the sounds that fade, but the still, observing presence that holds them all. It is the unbroken rhythm of the breath itself, the constant, gentle pulse of awareness that is always here, always present. When you rest in this quiet, you are not seeking something new. You are remembering what you already are. The night's quiet is not a barrier to awareness, but its most profound teacher. It invites you to let go of the need to grasp, to understand, to push away the stillness, and simply to be held within it. In this moment, you are already reborn, already whole, already at peace. The continuous flow of presence, found in each breath, is not something to be reached. It is the very air you breathe. So, as you breathe into the silence of the night, feel the unbroken rhythm holding all stillness. Feel the deep peace that comes from resting in the fullness of the present moment, without needing to go anywhere else. Notice how the quiet reveals the effortless nature of being itself. This is the wisdom of rebirth in the now. Impermanence becomes visible when we observe it without resistance. As night deepens and the world settles into quiet, notice how the weight of yesterday begins to soften. It gathers in the spaces between your breaths, a familiar heaviness that clings to the mind like damp cloth. Those thoughts of what you should have said or done, the echoes of decisions made or missed, they are not facts etched in stone but passing clouds in the sky of your awareness. They exist only as stories you hold, not as truths that shape your present. True clarity comes not from clinging to the past, but from gently releasing its grip. Imagine a single leaf floating on a calm stream. It carries no burden of where it came from. It simply moves with the water's flow. Your regrets are like that leaf, light, transient, and already carried away by the current of now. You do not need to hold them. You never did. This is the quiet wisdom of the river. It flows without resistance, without the weight of yesterday's stones. When you stop gathering them, the path ahead becomes clear. The mind is not a burdened vessel, but a clear pond reflecting the moon. What you release is not the past itself, but the story you've told about it. That story is a thought, not a fact. It is a shadow cast by the light of memory, not the light itself. Tonight, as you settle into the stillness, let your attention rest softly on the weight you carry. Is it the sharp edge of a harsh word spoken too quickly? The slow ache of a promise unkept? The quiet shame of a chance missed? Name it gently, like a small stone in your palm. Then, with a breath as soft as the night air, let it go. Do not chase it away. Simply stop holding it. Feel the space open within you. A quiet room cleared of old things. This is not forgetting, it is remembering what is true now. The present moment is already whole, already peaceful. It needs no apology for yesterday. It only asks for your full presence. So as you breathe into the deep quiet, ask yourself, what single weight can you release tonight? Not the entire burden, but one small stone, one thought, one moment of holding on. Let it drift like that leaf on the stream. Feel the lightness that follows, the space where clarity can bloom. This release is not a grand act, but a simple return to the ground of your being. The river flows, and so can you. This release makes room for mindful moments in quiet hours. Close your eyes now and feel the quiet of this night. Notice the space between your breaths, the gentle stillness holding you. This is where the weight of yesterday's regrets begins to soften. Regret is not a truth carved in stone. It is a story we tell ourselves, a loop replaying in the mind, not the reality of this moment. You did not live yesterday, you are living now. The past is a river that has already flowed past the bank. Holding on to its water only makes you heavy while the river moves on. Letting go is not forgetting the lessons learned. It is freeing the mind from the burden of what cannot be changed. It is like releasing a stone held too tightly in your hand. You feel its absence not as loss, but as lightness. You carry the wisdom, not the weight. Imagine sitting by a quiet stream at dusk. A single leaf drifts on the surface, caught for a moment in a gentle eddy. You watch it, then let it go without pulling it back. The leaf continues its journey downstream, and you remain seated, undisturbed. This is the nature of the mind. The leaf represents the thought of regret, present, perhaps vivid, but not yours to hold. You do not deny the leaf's presence. You simply do not cling to it. It moves on, and your stillness remains. The stream flows without resistance, without needing to judge the leaf's path. Your mind can be like that stream. The past is the leaf, the present is the water flowing beneath you. There is no need to chase it or hold it back. Reflect now, gently. How does releasing this story of regret change the way you move through your day? When you truly let go of the narrative of what was done or not done, what shifts inside you? You might notice a softening in your shoulders, a clearer breath. You might find yourself choosing kindness toward yourself or others without the shadow of judgment. You might simply notice the warmth of your hands resting on your lap, the sound of distant silence, and act from that place of clarity, not from the old need to fix what is already past. This release is not passive, it is the active choice to meet life with an open hand, not a clenched fist. It means your next action, your next word, your next breath is offered freely, unburdened by the past. You are no longer running from yesterday. You are simply here, fully with what is. This quiet space you are in now, the space where regret dissolves, is not empty. It is full of the simple, profound presence of being. It is the space where the river of your awareness flows effortlessly, carrying the wisdom of the past without its weight. When you release the story, you reclaim the power of the present moment. You stop measuring your worth against yesterday's choices. You stop waiting for a future where the regret is erased. You simply are, right here, right now, with the fullness of this breath, this stillness, this quiet night. And in this release, you discover that the present moment is not just a moment to endure, it is a sacred space, already whole and complete. This is the quiet transformation that turns ordinary hours into moments of deep peace, readying you for the next step in your journey. The river flows, and you are flowing with it. The quiet hours hold a different kind of fullness, a subtle richness often missed when the mind is busy with echoes of yesterday or the weight of tomorrow. This stillness is not an empty space waiting to be filled. It is already brimming with a quiet awareness, a gentle presence that notices the soft sigh of the wind against the window pane or the quiet rhythm of your own breath. In this unhurried space, the heavy narratives we carry, the old regrets, the anxious planning begin to soften, not because we forget them, but because we simply stop adding to their weight. We release the burden of time itself, finding clarity not by erasing the past, but by resting fully within the now. Each moment in this quiet hour carries the potential for a new beginning, a gentle rebirth. It is not about grand transformations, but the quiet miracle of simply being here, fully awake to what is. The water in your cup reflects the moonlight, not as a memory of yesterday's rain, but as a clear, present thing. The sound of a distant train, a few notes of music drifting through the night, becomes not a distraction, but a point of connection to the world unfolding right now. This is the essence of mindful presence, not forcing the mind to be empty, but allowing it to be spacious, noticing the small, ordinary sensations without the need to label them, judge them, or turn them into stories. Consider the simple sensation of your feet resting on the cool floorboards beneath you, or the soft weight of a blanket against your skin. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you breathe, without trying to change it. Notice the faint sound of your own breathing in the quiet, or the way the darkness feels different near the window. Do not name it cold or comfortable. Do not think this is boring or this is peaceful. Simply notice the sensation as it is, a clear point of contact with the present moment. In this noticing, without judgment, the mind finds its natural stillness. The past, with its heavy stories, dissolves into the quiet. The future, with its anxious projections, fades into the same stillness. There is only the cool floor, the breath, the quiet hum of the night, and the awareness that holds them all, unburdened. This is how we release the weight of time. Not by fighting the flow of moments, but by resting within each one, finding the sacred in the ordinary. The quiet hours become a sanctuary, not because they are free of sound, but because they are filled with the subtle awareness of sound, touch, and breath. Each small sensation noticed without judgment is a tiny act of liberation, a moment where the cycle of samsara, the restless grasping for past or future, gently loosens its hold. You are not holding on to the past, nor pushing away the future. You are simply here, noticing the cool floor, the soft breath, the quiet hum of the night, and in that noticing, you find the space where true peace resides. As the deep quiet settles further, and the moonlight spills softly across the room, notice how the very stillness becomes a gentle teacher. The impermanence of the moment, the way the light shifts, the way the sound of the wind changes, all speak without words. They remind us that the present moment, held with mindful awareness, is always a fresh beginning, a quiet rebirth waiting to be noticed. The world breathes slowly now, the deep quiet of night settling like a soft blanket over the room. Outside, the wind has stilled, the distant hum of the world has faded, and the only sound is the quiet rhythm of your own breath. In this stillness, you notice something profound. The past is a story you tell yourself, the future a shadow you chase, but the present moment, the cool floor beneath your feet, the soft weight of the blanket, the gentle rise and fall of your chest is the only time that truly exists. Thoughts about what was or what might be create a separation, a veil between you and the simple reality of now. The night's quiet reveals this clearly. It strips away the noise, showing how your own mind constructs barriers between you and the peace that is already here. This is not a theory, but a lived truth. Imagine sitting in your quiet room, the moonlight painting silver patterns on the wall. You feel the coolness of the wooden floor through your bare feet. You notice the soft sound of your breath, a natural rhythm without effort. There is no need to fix anything, to change anything. You simply are, anchored in this ordinary sensation. The mind, so often restless, finds rest in the simplicity of feeling the floor's coolness or the warmth of your hands resting on your knees. This is not about achieving a special state. It is about releasing the illusion that you must be somewhere else. The burden of time, the weight of yesterday's regrets, the anxiety of tomorrow's tasks melts away when you fully inhabit this single point of presence. The night holds no past, no future. It holds only this moment, this breath, this quiet awareness. Reflect for a moment. Where do you feel most present when the world is still? Perhaps it is the cool touch of stone beneath your palms as you sit on a quiet porch at dawn, or the deep, slow rhythm of your breath as you lie in bed before sleep. Maybe it is the sound of silence itself, the absence of all noise, which becomes the clearest sound of all. These are not distant ideals, they are the simple, ordinary anchors that exist right here, right now, when the world has settled. They are not about escaping time, but about discovering that time's weight was never real to begin with. The separation you feel, it is made of thoughts, not reality. In the quiet, you can feel the truth. You are already whole, already here, without needing to reach for anything. This is the liberation of mindful presence. It is not a destination, but the very ground beneath your feet, always available. The night does not ask for anything. It simply is. And in its quiet, it shows you how to let go without effort, without struggle, simply by resting in the natural stillness of being. The world may rush, but within this quiet room, you find the unshakable peace of the present. The past dissolves in the light of now. The future has no power here. There is only this breath, this feeling, this deep, quiet, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. The burden of time, the weight of samsara, falls away not through force, but through the simple, profound act of being fully here. As moonlight shifts across the floor, watch how it changes, how it moves without clinging, without resistance. This is the quiet lesson of impermanence, showing us how to let go. As the moonlight spills softly across the wooden floor, notice how it shifts with the slow turn of the night. It does not cling to one spot, nor does it mourn the space it leaves behind. The light moves, changes, flows like water over stone, gentle, inevitable, and perfectly natural. This is the quiet teaching of impermanence, not as a sorrow to be endured, but as the very rhythm of life itself. It is not loss, but the gentle unfolding of what is. The moon does not resist the changing sky, nor does the night resist the turning of the earth. They simply are, in their constant, quiet motion. Consider the candle flame beside you, a small, dancing point of warmth in the quiet room. It flickers, rises, and settles without a word. It does not fight the air that moves around it, nor does it fear the moment it will fade. The flame is not less beautiful for being temporary. Its very beauty lies in its fleeting grace. This is the wisdom we are learning to see, that all things, in their changing forms, hold their own kind of peace. The moonlight on the floor, the candles dance, the breath moving in and out of your own body, each moment is complete, right here, right now, even as it is already becoming something else. So tonight, let your mind rest in this gentle observation. What impermanent thing brings you peace? Perhaps it is the soft sound of rain on the roof, the way the shadows deepen as the night grows longer, or the quiet rhythm of your own heartbeat beneath your ribs. Not the thing itself, but the way it simply is, without demand or resistance. Feel how peace arises not from holding on, but from resting within the flow. The moonlight does not grasp for permanence. It simply illuminates what is present. And in that illumination, there is no need for struggle. It is enough, just as it is. This quiet noticing is not about changing the world, but about changing our relationship to it. When we see the moonlight shift without a thought of "it should be still," we begin to soften the edge of our resistance. We stop fighting the natural movement of life. The tension we carry comes not from the change itself, but from our hidden belief that things should stay fixed, should be permanent. But the moonlight teaches us otherwise. It shows us that permanence is an illusion, and peace is found in the very act of letting go, not of holding on. As you sit with this, feel the cool wood beneath you, the quiet hum of the night outside your window, the gentle rise and fall of your breath. These are not fleeting distractions, they are the very ground of your peace, appearing and dissolving in perfect harmony. There is no need to grasp, no need to fear the next moment. The moonlight, the candle, your breath, they all teach us this, to be fully present with what is, without resistance, without the weight of what might be. In this simple presence, the illusion of fixed reality begins to soften, to dissolve like mist under the morning sun. Observing impermanence dissolves the illusion of fixed reality. The night air settles gently around you, a quiet presence holding the stillness of the hour. Listen now to the soft breath of the breeze as it moves through the trees, carrying with it the scent of night-blooming jasmine. Feel it brush your skin, a cool touch that comes and goes without warning. This simple movement of air holds a profound teaching, offered freely to those who pause to notice. The breeze does not cling to the scent it carries, nor does it resist the path it takes. It simply moves, releasing what it touches as it flows onward. This is the nature of all things, a truth whispered by the wind and the water. Observe how the breeze carries away thoughts like leaves floating on the surface of a still pond. One moment a thought arises, clear and distinct, and the next, It is swept along, dissolving into the current. There is no struggle, no effort to hold it in place. It simply appears and then vanishes, leaving only the calm water behind. This is not a loss to be mourned, but a deep freedom to be recognized. When we understand that no sensation, no feeling, no thought lasts, we release the tight grip of resistance. We see that the very act of trying to hold on to the moment as it changes creates the suffering. The breeze reminds us that everything flows. Sights, sounds, emotions, even the feeling of this moment itself, none of it is meant to be held. This is not emptiness, but the spaciousness of natural flow. It is the freedom of knowing that change is not an enemy, but the essential rhythm of life. Reflect now on this gentle lesson carried on the night air. As you sit quietly, feel the coolness of the breeze on your face. Notice how the sensation shifts, fades, and is replaced by the next touch of air. Feel the absence of the previous touch, not as a void, but as an open space. Where do you feel the urge to hold on to something right now? The sound of the wind, the memory of a scent, the shape of a thought? Can you simply allow it to pass, as the breeze allows the leaves to drift away? No need to chase the feeling, no need to name it. Just rest in the knowing that it is already moving. This is the practice of presence, not as an achievement, but as a natural unfolding, like the breeze itself. In this quiet observation, you begin to see the pattern. The thoughts that arise and pass, the feelings that come and go, are not separate from the vastness of awareness that holds them. They are like clouds in a clear sky, temporary forms appearing within the boundless space. The breeze does not need to be noticed to be present. It simply is, teaching through its very motion. So too, the impermanence of all experience is the gentle teacher, revealing that our true nature is not the changing thought, but the unchanging awareness that witnesses it all. The night air carries this truth softly, without force, inviting you to rest in the natural flow of what is. As the breeze continues its quiet passage, carrying away the last traces of evening, notice how thoughts like passing clouds reveal our true nature. Feel the quiet settle around you like the soft breath of the night. Listen to the gentle rustle of leaves carried on the breeze, a sound as natural as the rise and fall of your own breath. This is the rhythm of life unfolding, not something to hold on to or push away. Notice how the scent of night flowers drifts past, a fleeting gift carried on the air. It arrives and then moves on, leaving no trace but the memory of its presence. This is how all things flow. Change is the only constant, the very breath of existence itself. There is no need to struggle against this truth, for resistance only creates the ache of separation. Peace arises when we simply rest within the natural current, like a leaf floating downstream without fighting the water. Consider your thoughts as the clouds that drift across the vast sky of your awareness. They appear suddenly, perhaps carrying a worry or a memory, and then they drift away, leaving the sky clear once more. You are not the cloud with its shifting shape and color. You are the clear, open sky itself, the space that holds the cloud without being changed by it. The cloud comes and goes. The sky remains unchanged, always present. This is not a concept to grasp with the mind, but a simple reality to observe as you sit quietly tonight. Watch the thoughts that arise without pulling them close or pushing them away. See them as passing weather in the vastness of your being. You might notice a thought about tomorrow's task, or a memory from long ago, or even the quiet hum of the night itself. Simply observe it as you would watch a cloud drift across the moonlit sky without judgment, without needing it to stay or go. In the ancient Zen tradition, a monk once sat beneath a tree as thoughts arose like birds flitting through branches. He did not chase them or try to silence them. He simply observed their movement, knowing the sky was always there, untroubled by the passing birds. His mind was not a stormy sea, but a calm lake reflecting the sky. This is the practice we invite you to hold gently tonight. As you sit in the quiet, notice one thought that appears. Let it be the cloud. Watch it form, watch it move, watch it dissolve. Feel the spaciousness within you that holds it all without effort. You are not the thought, you are the awareness that sees it. There is no need to fix it, to understand it, or to make it disappear. It is simply a passing cloud in the boundless sky of your own true nature. Reflect now with this gentle awareness. What thought can you watch like a cloud tonight? Is it a small worry about the day, a fleeting feeling of sadness, or perhaps just the quiet hum of the present moment itself? Simply see it as it is, without adding your story to it. Let it be a cloud passing through your clear sky. This simple act of watching, without resistance, transforms the ordinary moment into a doorway. It reveals how thoughts arise and fall, how life flows without a fixed point of control. This is the wisdom that dissolves the illusion of permanence we cling to. It shows us that the very cycle of samsara, the endless turning of birth, change, and death is not a burden to be escaped, but a natural dance to be seen clearly. When we stop fighting the flow, when we simply rest as the clear sky observing the clouds, the cycle becomes visible not as a problem, but as the beautiful, effortless rhythm of existence itself. This observation makes samsara's cycle visible without judgment. As the quiet settles over the night, a gentle stillness begins to unfold within. The world outside your window breathes softly, leaves barely stirring, the moon casting its pale light across the garden. In this deep calm, observe the thoughts that arise within your mind. They appear like shadows cast by the moon's gentle glow, forming and dissolving with the same quiet rhythm of the night itself. Notice how they do not belong to you, nor do they define you. They are simply phenomena passing through the spacious awareness that is always present, like shadows appearing and fading with the movement of the moon. This is not a problem to solve, nor a thing to chase or cling to. It is simply the natural flow of experience, as inevitable as the moon's light shifting across the garden path. Consider the garden beneath the moonlight. A shadow of a branch appears on the stone path. It forms clearly as the moonlight hits the branch, then softens and fades as the branch shifts slightly or the moon moves behind a cloud. The shadow has no substance, no permanent form. It is merely the absence of light in that moment, shaped by the light and the object. In the same way, thoughts arise within the clear space of your awareness. They are shaped by the light of the present moment, by the conditions of the day, by the subtle currents of memory and feeling. But they are not the substance of the path itself, nor the stone beneath your feet. They are temporary, like the shadow, appearing and disappearing without altering the fundamental nature of the path or the stone. Your true nature, like the clear night sky, remains unchanging, undisturbed by the passing shadows. When do thoughts feel most like shadows to you? Perhaps it is during those rare moments of deep calm, when you are not actively engaged in planning or judging, but simply resting in the present. When the mental noise has quieted, and you notice thoughts floating through your mind like wisps of mist under the moon. You see them clearly, without needing to follow their path or hold on to their shape. You simply observe them, knowing they will pass, as the shadow of the branch passes. This is the gentle practice of seeing thoughts not as solid realities demanding your attention, but as the natural, temporary play of light and form within your awareness. It is in this seeing, without resistance, that the deep peace of your true nature is revealed. You are not the shadow, you are the moonlight, the sky, the space within which the shadow appears and vanishes. So, as you rest here in this quiet night, gently bring your attention to the thoughts that arise. See them as shadows in the moonlight. Notice their fleeting nature, their lack of inherent substance. Feel the spaciousness of awareness that holds them without being disturbed by them. There is no need to chase the shadow or to fear its passing. Simply allow it to be, as the moonlight allows the shadow to form. In this quiet observation, without grasping or pushing away, you touch the essence of who you are. You see the cycle of thought and release clearly, and in that seeing, attachment naturally loosens. Seeing the cycle clearly leads to releasing attachment. Night deepens. The world softens. A single raindrop on the roof, then another, then the gentle rhythm of a steady fall. Listen to the quiet. Feel the stillness beneath the sound. This is the space where confusion dissolves. Samsara, the cycle of birth and death, of rising and falling, is not a cage of suffering we are trapped within. It is simply the pattern of awareness itself, like the river's current flowing over the same stones, day after day, year after year. The cycle isn't happening to you. It is the very movement of your own awareness, observed without resistance. When you see this clearly, you no longer mistake the river for the stone. You stop believing the current is you. You simply see the water moving, the stones remaining still. Watch the river flowing past your window. See how the leaves drift, gather, and disappear, only to be replaced by others. The water is always changing, yet the riverbed remains. Your thoughts, your feelings, your circumstances, they are the leaves, the surface movement. The deep, unchanging ground beneath them, the awareness that simply observes the flow, is your true nature. This is not a philosophical idea. It is the simple truth you can feel right now, as you breathe, as you hear the rain. The confusion arises when you lean into the surface ripples, believing they are the whole river, the whole world. But when you step back, just for a moment, and watch the current without grasping or pushing, the pattern reveals itself as natural, not painful. It is the river's way, not your prison. So, take this quiet moment to reflect. What cycle in your own life can you observe without fear? Not the grand cycles of birth and death, but the smaller, daily rhythms we all move through. Perhaps it is the pattern of your morning routine, the coffee, the walk, the familiar street, or the way frustration arises when you're stuck in traffic, then fades as you arrive, or the simple rhythm of your breath, rising and falling, always present. See these patterns not as chains binding you, but as the natural, flowing movement of life itself. Notice the feeling of fear that might arise when you try to look closely. Can you simply say, this is a pattern, and let it be. Let the pattern flow, without needing to stop it or be stopped by it. This is seeing the cycle clearly. It is the end of identifying with the surface water. It is the deep peace of knowing the river is not the stone. This clarity, this gentle seeing, invites us to understand rebirth not as a distant event, but as the very renewal happening within this present moment. The old pattern dissolves, not with struggle, but simply because you see it clearly. The current moves on, carrying the leaves, and the river remains. The old story ends, and a new moment begins, not as a different thing, but as the same awareness, flowing freely. Now, watch thoughts as shadows in the moonlight. flowing without resistance into the next moment. As the evening deepens and the world settles into its quiet rhythm, notice how the river of your own experience flows. It is not a path you must force or flee from, but simply the natural current of awareness itself. Samsara, this cycle of arising and passing, is neither a prison nor a destination. It is the very texture of being, like the gentle ebb and flow of the tide, or the slow turning of the seasons. The confusion arises not from the cycle itself, but from our resistance to it. Our constant labeling of what is happening as either good or bad, right or wrong. When we judge the flow as something to escape, we create the very suffering we seek to avoid. This judgment is the knot, not the river. The river flows with perfect neutrality, carrying leaves and stones alike, neither favoring nor rejecting any part of its journey. Imagine sitting by a clear stream at dawn. The water moves steadily, carrying fallen petals downstream. You do not grasp at the petals, nor curse the water for taking them away. You simply observe the movement, the light on the surface, the quiet sound. The water does not suffer because it flows. It simply is. Your mind, however, might create a story. The petals are lost. The water is too fast. This is not as I wish. It is this story, this resistance to the way things are, that causes the inner disturbance. The stream remains unchanged. The suffering comes from your judgment of the stream's action. Samsara is that stream. It is not the stream that is the problem, but the resistance to the stream. When you see the cycle clearly, without the added weight of judgment, the cycle itself dissolves as a source of suffering. It becomes simply the present moment, seen as it is. So, as you sit quietly this evening, observe your own reactions to the flow of life. Notice the moment when frustration arises because something did not go as planned. What is the thought that says this shouldn't be happening? Feel the tightness in your chest, the mental resistance. Now, gently soften. Ask yourself, is the situation itself the problem, or is it my judgment of the situation? See if you can simply notice the frustration as it arises, without adding the story of I shouldn't feel this way. Feel how the tightness loosens when you stop fighting the feeling. This is the clarity that comes from not resisting the cycle. It is the understanding that the cycle is neutral. Our judgments are the suffering. When you stop naming the flow as bad, the flow itself becomes the path of peace. Reflect now on your own relationship to this cycle. How does it feel to observe your thoughts and feelings as part of the natural current, rather than as enemies to be conquered? Does the idea of rebirth feel less like a distant fear and more like the simple, ongoing renewal happening right here, right now, in the space between one breath and the next? When you stop resisting the flow, you find yourself already within the peace of the stream. You don't need to escape the river to find stillness. Stillness is the river's nature, revealed when you stop struggling against it. As the night deepens and the stars emerge, carry this quiet observation with you. Let the clarity of seeing the cycle clearly dissolve the old habit of resistance. The next chapter will gently invite you to rest within this non-judgmental awareness, as the quiet night itself becomes your most profound teacher. As the world settles into the deep quiet of night, the air cools softly against your skin. Outside, the trees stand motionless, their branches tracing delicate patterns against the starry sky. A distant sound, perhaps a rustling leaf, a soft sigh of wind fades almost before it arrives. In this stillness, no words are needed. The very nature of things reveals itself. The moon's reflection shimmers on the water's surface, then dissolves as a ripple passes through. It appears, it changes, it vanishes, yet the water remains unchanged. This is the truth of impermanence made visible without a single syllable spoken. The stillness holds the truth of change, not as a concept, but as a felt reality within your own breathing. Samsara is not a distant cycle to be feared or escaped. It is the natural flow of awareness itself, the river moving through the landscape of your present moment. When we resist the flow, when we grasp at what is already passing, we create suffering. But in the quiet night, we see clearly the river is always moving, yet it is also always still. The water does not fight the ripples, it simply holds them. This is not passive acceptance, but the deep wisdom of understanding that change is the only constant, and within that change, there is no separate thing to hold on to. The moon's reflection is precious, precisely because it is fleeting. It is not precious because it lasts, but because it appears now, here, in this exact moment. So tonight, as you rest, let your awareness settle into this quiet observation. Look within. What impermanent thing feels most precious to you right now? Perhaps it is the warmth of your breath as you exhale, the soft light of the moon on your pillow, the memory of a child's laughter shared earlier, or the simple peace of this still room. Notice how it arises, how it feels vivid and real, and how it is already beginning to shift. Even as you hold it in your mind, do not cling to it. Simply see it, as you see the moon's reflection on the water. It is beautiful because it is temporary, not despite it. This is the heart of the teaching, to find value not in permanence, but in the very act of seeing clearly, right here, right now. As the night deepens and the stars seem to hold their breath, let this reflection soften your grasp on what might come tomorrow. The mind often clings to the future, imagining what it will hold, fearing what it might lose. But tonight, you have seen the truth. The only moment that truly exists is this one, with its fleeting beauty and its quiet truth. There is no need to hold on to tomorrow, because the river of life is already carrying you through it, just as it carried you through this night. The stillness within the flow is your home. Release the need to shape the next moment, and simply rest in the knowing that whatever arises, it is part of the same flowing truth. The night holds you, and you are held by the wisdom of impermanence. As night deepens, the world settles into a soft hush. The street lamp's glow on the pavement fades to a gentle blur. The rustle of leaves in the garden is the only sound now. A quiet rhythm beneath the vast, still sky. In this quiet, observe how everything shifts, how nothing holds still. The moon's light moves across the wall. The shadows of branches dance and change. The coolness of the night air shifts as a breeze stirs. Even the thought of sleep itself is not a fixed thing, but a subtle flow within the mind. This is not a lesson to be learned, but a simple truth to be seen. All things, thoughts, feelings, the very night itself are impermanent. They arise, they change, they pass like ripples on a pond. There is no need to name them or hold them. They simply are as the river flows. Holding on to anything creates suffering. It is not the changing nature of things that causes pain, but the effort to pin down what is already flowing. We cling to the warmth of the blanket, to the memory of a peaceful moment, to the idea that this feeling of calm should last forever. We grasp at the thought that we must be this way or that way, and the effort of holding tight creates its own tension, its own small ache. The river does not resist its own flow, yet it moves with ease. It does not try to stay in one place, so it never struggles. We are like the river, moving through the night, through the day, through all the moments of life. Our suffering comes from resisting the current, from wanting the current to be still. But the current is the river, and the river is the current. To see this clearly is to find peace. Consider the candle burning on the table. Its flame is never the same moment to the next. It flickers, leans, brightens, dims, all without a single thought from the candle itself. It does not fight the wind. It does not wish to stay perfectly steady. It simply is what it is, burning its brief, beautiful life. This is the natural state of all things. The flame does not cling to its shape, so it burns without resistance. We are the same. We are the flame, the candle, the night, the breeze. Our true nature is not fixed, but fluid, like water. To see this, to accept it without struggle, is to release the burden we carry. So tonight, as you rest, let your mind be the quiet space where things come and go. Notice the thought that arises, I need this to stay. Notice the feeling of wanting to hold on to the coolness of the night, the comfort of this moment. Then, gently let it go. Not forcefully, but with the soft ease of the river. Release the need for permanence, the need for things to be exactly as you wish them to be. See the impermanence not as a loss, but as the very nature of life. The night is not losing its beauty because it changes. It is being beautiful exactly as it is, in its changing way. The moon is not less bright because the clouds move. The stars are not less clear because the sky shifts. All things are complete in their momentary expression. Reflect quietly. What impermanent thing are you clinging to right now? Is it a worry about tomorrow? A memory of the past? A hope for a certain feeling to remain? See it clearly, without judgment. Then, with the same gentle care you might set down a cup of warm tea, let it rest. Let it be. The act of releasing is not an effort, but a return to the natural flow. It is the river returning to its path. In this release, the mind finds its deep stillness. The night holds you without demand. The air is soft around you. There is no need to hold on. Rest is found not in the absence of change, but in the quiet acceptance of it. Rest is found in the letting go. And so, as the night deepens further, the mind settles, the body softens, and the river flows with ease. Restful sleep comes naturally to the mind that has released its grip on what cannot be held. As night settles gently, the world softens beneath a blanket of stars. The day's concerns slowly dissolve into the quiet air, leaving only the quiet rhythm of breath. In this stillness, sleep is not an escape from the day's weight, but a natural rebirth into deep rest. It is a return to the present moment, a gentle surrender where the mind releases its hold on the next day, the next worry, the endless tomorrow that keeps us restless. True rest arrives only when we let go of that future, not by forcing sleep, but by allowing the body and mind to simply be as they are in this very moment. The value is not found in clinging to the permanence of wakefulness or in resisting the natural flow of rest, but in the clear seeing of the peace available now. Here, as you settle into the bed, imagine the quiet moment just before sleep, when the last thought of the day lingers. Perhaps it is a worry about tomorrow's meeting, a task left unfinished. This thought pulls you forward into a future that does not yet exist, keeping your mind restless even as your body seeks rest. Now, picture releasing that thought, not by pushing it away, but by noticing it with gentle awareness and letting it float away like a leaf on a calm stream. You breathe deeply, feeling the support of the mattress, the coolness of the sheets, the quiet of the room. The future dissolves into the present. There is only this breath, this rest, this moment of pure being. In that release, sleep becomes not a passive state, but an active return to the ground of your being, a renewal as natural as the turning of the earth. This is rebirth. The mind, freed from the burden of tomorrow, returns to its resting place within the present. Reflect now on your own experience. When you truly release the grip on tomorrow, not by ignoring responsibilities, but by trusting that they will be met in their own time. How does your sleep change? Notice the difference in your body as you let go. Feel the tightness in your shoulders soften. The racing thoughts slow to a gentle hum. Perhaps you fall asleep more easily, or you wake feeling more refreshed. Not because you forced rest, but because you allowed it. The wisdom is simple. The more we hold on to the future, the more we resist the present moment, the more we disturb our own rest. Releasing tomorrow is not indifference. It is the profound understanding that true rest, true renewal, happens only when we are fully present in the now, where all things are already as they should be. This quiet surrender is the essence of the Dharma. It is not about achieving a perfect sleep, but about recognizing the sacred practice inherent in simply resting. In letting go of the future, we rediscover the peace that has always been available in the present. The moon continues to rise. The stars do not rush, and so too can we rest without hurry. As the night deepens, the wisdom of this release becomes a gentle companion, a reminder that rest is not earned through effort, but revealed through surrender. This quiet night, this deep sleep, is a daily rebirth, a return to the natural flow of being. It is here, in the stillness of the night, that we touch the impermanence of all things, not as a concept, but as a felt reality in the ease of our own breath. Night reflections on the impermanence of all things. As the day's concerns dissolve like mist beneath the moon, feel the weight of the day soften into the quiet of night. Deep sleep is not mere absence of thought, but a gentle rebirth without effort. A return to the natural stillness that always holds you. It is not passive drifting, but an active surrender to the present moment. A letting go of the need to hold on to anything at all. When you release the subtle tension of waiting for morning or worrying about tomorrow, the mind settles not into emptiness, but into a profound fullness of now. This is the wisdom of rebirth woven into rest, each night a quiet return to the source, where thought and resistance simply fall away like leaves in the river. Imagine a river flowing smoothly over stones, never forcing its path but moving with the land's gentle curve. When you lie down to sleep, you are not resisting the river's flow but becoming part of it. The mind's constant chatter about what was or what will be fades as you trust the natural rhythm of your body. Rest is not idleness. It is the active choice to stop fighting the current and allow yourself to be carried by the stillness within. There is no need to make sleep happen, only to stop preventing it. This surrender is not weakness, but the deepest strength. The recognition that you are already whole, already at peace, simply waiting for the mind to remember. Feel the difference when you stop resisting the quiet. Let your breath slow without effort, like a candle flame settling in a calm room. Notice how the shoulders soften, the jaw unclenches, the mind no longer grasping at the edges of the night. What would deep rest feel like without resistance? It would feel like sinking into a bed of moonlight, where the only sensation is the gentle rise and fall of your own breath. It would feel like the river flowing freely, not against the rocks, but with them, knowing the destination is not a place to reach, but the very movement itself. There is no struggle to be more rested, only the simple act of resting as you are, right now, exactly as you are. So, as you settle into your bed, let the question settle with you. What would it be like to rest without holding back? To let go of the small, persistent effort to control the moment, to allow your body to soften and your mind to quiet without judgment. This is the quiet practice of rebirth. Each night a chance to return to the truth that you are already resting, already whole, already home. The resistance is the only barrier, and it dissolves as you simply let go. The deep rest you seek is not something to achieve, but something to remember. Something already present in the space between breaths. As the night breathes around you, feel the gentle shift within. The effort to sleep fades, replaced by the natural ease of being. In this stillness, effortless awareness becomes natural. It is not a state to reach, but the ground beneath your feet, always there, waiting for you to stop walking away from it. Let this night's rest be your quiet reminder. You are already reborn, already resting, already at peace. As you settle into the softness of your bed, the day's edges begin to soften. The weight of thoughts about what has been or what might be gently releases, not through force, but through a quiet letting go. This is the space where restful sleep becomes a natural rebirth. Not something we must build, but something we remember. It is here, in the deep quiet between breaths, that the wisdom of effortless awareness awakens. Awareness isn't work. It's your natural state, as constant and quiet as the air you breathe. When you stop trying to shape it, to control the flow of thoughts or sensations, noticing happens effortlessly. Like a leaf floating down a stream, it simply is, without needing to be pushed or pulled. You don't have to try to see the moonlight on the water. It is already there, reflecting the sky. Effortless noticing arises when you release the grip of "I must be aware" and simply rest in the knowing that is already present. The mind, unburdened by the need to do, becomes a clear mirror reflecting the present moment exactly as it is. This is not a practice you perform. It is the natural clarity that emerges when the noise of striving falls away. Think of a time you were completely absorbed in something simple, perhaps watching clouds drift across a vast sky, or feeling the warmth of sunlight on your skin. In that moment, there was no effort to notice. It just was. The awareness flowed naturally, without a single thought of "I am noticing." Perhaps you remember that moment by the river, when the water's movement became your own rhythm, or the quiet stillness of a forest path where the sound of birdsong simply entered your being without a single effort to hold it. That is the effortless awareness we are remembering now. It is not a special achievement reserved for the enlightened. It is the very ground of your being, always available, always present, waiting only for the release of control. When you lie down, feel the support beneath you, hear the gentle sounds of the night, and notice how the breath moves without needing to be directed. You are touching this natural state. There is no doing of awareness. There is only the quiet, unbroken knowing that is already here. You don't have to chase it or cultivate it. You simply need to stop pushing it away with the urgent need to control. The resistance is the only thing that makes awareness feel like work. Let that resistance dissolve. Feel how the body relaxes, how the mind settles into its own quiet depth. In this soft space, awareness is not a task. It is the very fabric of your rest. It is the peace that is already here, not something you have to earn for sleep. Reflect on when awareness felt effortless for you. Was it in the quiet after rain, when the world felt washed clean? Was it in a shared silence with a loved one, where words were unnecessary? Was it simply the feeling of being fully present in a single, ordinary moment, without any need to be anywhere else? That moment is not lost. It is the doorway to your natural state. It is the memory of who you truly are, beneath the layers of striving. This awareness dissolves the illusion of separate self. As the room settles into the quiet embrace of night, notice how rest arrives not through striving, but simply through letting go. This is the gentle truth you carry within. True awareness is already present, like the moonlight on still water, requiring no doing, no special effort. When you try to be aware, to hold on to it or shape it, you create a separation between the observer and the observed, a subtle barrier that pulls you away from the very peace you seek. Effort to be aware is like trying to grasp water. The tighter you hold, the more it slips through your fingers. The separation you feel is not reality, but the result of the very effort you make to find what is already here. Consider the old Zen story of the monk who sought the master's advice on stillness. The master simply said, "Sit." The monk sat for hours, tensing his body, trying to quiet his mind, but only grew more agitated. Finally, the master asked, "Why do you strain so hard to be still?" The monk, confused, replied, "But I'm trying to be still." The master smiled gently. "Then you are still not sitting." The monk relaxed, his shoulders dropping, his mind softening. In that unforced release, The stillness was not something he achieved. It was simply what remained when the effort to be still dissolved. Awareness wasn't built, it was remembered, as natural as breathing when you stop fighting it. So, dear friend, as you settle into this night, let this be your gentle invitation. What if you simply stopped trying to be aware? What if you stopped the quiet internal push to be present and let the awareness that is already here, like the air around you, simply be? Release the subtle tension in your shoulders, the slight focus on being aware, and notice what happens. Does the quiet deepen? Does the sense of a separate self, the one trying to hold on to awareness, soften and fade? Does the rest feel less like a destination reached and more like a homecoming already known? This is the shift, the moment you stop adding effort. The separation dissolves, and you rest not as a separate entity striving, but as the very stillness itself, the moonlight on the water, the deep, effortless calm that was never lost, only obscured by the effort to find it. You are not becoming aware, you are simply remembering the awareness that has always been. Letting thoughts drift like water becomes natural. As the deep peace of effortless awareness settles within you, like moonlight resting on a still pond, notice the gentle movement of thoughts. They arise, as they always have, but now you see them not as solid things to grasp or push away, but as water flowing freely. Thoughts drift across the surface of your mind, like leaves carried by a mountain stream or ripples on a calm lake. There is no need to hold them, no need to follow their current, no need to judge their shape or speed. They simply flow, and the water beneath remains undisturbed, always still. This is the quiet wisdom of letting thoughts drift. Watch them pass without clinging, without resistance. See how the very act of observing them without effort reveals the profound stillness that has always been there, beneath the surface of the flowing current. The water is not separate from the ripples. The stillness is not separate from the movement. The mind's nature is naturally clear and calm, even as thoughts arise and pass. When you stop trying to control the stream, you see the water itself clear and deep. The effort to be aware dissolves, leaving only the awareness that was always present, like the water holding the ripples without being changed by them. Consider a simple moment. Imagine sitting by a quiet stream, watching fallen leaves float downstream. You observe the leaves, their color, their path, their brief journey, but you do not try to catch them or make them go a certain way. You simply watch, and in that watching, you feel the deep calm of the water itself, the steady flow beneath the surface motion. This is how thoughts flow for you now. They are not your enemy, not your burden, but simply the passing scene on the surface of your own still awareness. You rest in this quiet space where thoughts drift like water, and the water is always still. Reflect gently on this. How does it feel to watch your thoughts as water flows, without needing to hold them or shape them? Perhaps you notice a quiet space within, a deep peace that remains untouched by the thoughts that pass through it. Maybe you feel a softening, a release of tension you didn't even realize was there. Perhaps it feels like coming home, to a place of natural rest where you simply are, without striving. This is not about stopping thoughts, but about seeing them as they are, and knowing that the awareness watching them is already complete, already at rest. This gentle release, this effortless allowing of thoughts to drift as water does, is where the illusion of separation begins to soften. It is not a practice you build, but a natural unfolding that happens when you stop pushing against the flow. In this releasing, the very concept of samsara, the endless cycle of grasping and aversion, begins to lose its grip. You realize the end of that cycle is not some distant place, but the quiet truth present in this very moment of release, right here in the space between breaths. The endless turning of thought and reaction slows, and the stillness beneath becomes unmistakably clear. This release makes samsara's end tangible in the breath. Feel the quiet ease of this moment as thoughts drift past like leaves on a calm river. No need to grasp, no need to push them away. They simply flow, carried by the current of awareness that is always present. This river of mind moves constantly, yet its surface remains undisturbed, reflecting the sky without effort. Notice how thoughts arise and pass, like ripples on water that dissolve into the whole. The river is always moving, so is your mind, but the water beneath the ripples is still. You are not the ripples, you are the river itself, flowing with natural ease. This is not something to achieve through practice, but the very nature of your awareness when effort ceases. When you stop trying to hold on to thoughts or chase after them, you discover a profound calm that has always been here. It is not built, it is revealed. Like moonlight settling on still water, the mind finds its natural rest. Thoughts flow without resistance, just as the river carries its current without strain. There is no place to go, no shape to form, only this gentle movement within the vastness of being. Now, gently turn your attention inward. Where do you feel thoughts flowing in your body? Not in the mind's chatter, but in the quiet space of your being. Perhaps you feel a soft movement in your chest, a subtle shift in your breath, or a quiet hum in your shoulders. Maybe thoughts flow as a gentle warmth in your hands, or as a lightness in your feet. Notice without naming it, without needing to understand. Feel the river moving through you, carrying the passing thoughts like water carries the leaves. There is no need to stop the flow, only to rest within the awareness that holds it all. The thoughts are not your enemy. They are simply the movement of the river, the natural expression of energy and motion. This quiet observation is not about controlling the current, but about recognizing the stillness beneath the surface. The river's movement is not separate from its calm. It is the calm expressing itself. Your mind's constant flow is not a problem to solve, but the very texture of your natural state. When you rest in this observation, without grasping or resisting, you realize that the effort to be aware has ceased. True awareness was always present, like the water itself, not something you create. It is the space where thoughts drift, unharmed and unimportant. Reflect on this stillness within the movement. Feel the river of thought flowing through you, yet the water beneath remains undisturbed. The body is not a barrier to this flow, but the very ground where it is felt. Where does it flow? In the breath, in the space between heartbeats, in the soft openness of the hands. There is no right or wrong place to feel it. Simply notice where the movement touches you. This is not a practice, it is a return to what is already whole. As you rest in this gentle noticing, the illusion of separation begins to soften. The constant pull of me and thoughts that fuels the cycle of samsara starts to dissolve in the clarity of this moment. The river flows, the water remains still, and you are neither the river nor the stillness, but the awareness that holds both. Samsara's end becomes visible in this moment. As the evening deepens and the world settles into its quiet rhythm, notice how your breath moves within you, unforced and natural. This simple movement is not a practice to be mastered, nor a path to be followed. It is simply the way you are already being. The cycle of samsara, the endless turning of seeking and grasping, does not end in some distant future moment. It ends right here, in the space of this breath. Each inhalation is a gentle release. Each exhalation a letting go of the very idea of separation. The river of thought flows on, but the river itself is not the water, nor is it the bank. The river is simply flowing, and in that flowing, there is no beginning and no end. The cycle dissolves not through effort, but through the quiet recognition that it was never real to begin with. It was a shadow cast by the mind's habit of clinging to the idea of me and not me, of here and there. But look again at your breath. Feel the cool air entering, the warm air leaving. There is no end to seek, because the ending is already happening now, in the very act of breathing without resistance. It is not a dramatic event. It is the soft sigh of a leaf releasing its hold on a branch, drifting down to rest upon the water. The leaf does not struggle to fall, it simply is. So too with the breath. There is no struggle to end the cycle, only the simple, natural unfolding of what already is. This is the wisdom of the moment. It is not a new state to attain, but the recognition of the state that has always been present beneath the surface of thought. The mind may still create the illusion of a cycle, but the breath, the simple, constant rhythm of life within you, reveals the truth. There is no cycle to end, only the illusion of one that dissolves with every gentle release. So take this next breath. Do not search for the end. Simply feel the space between the inhale and the exhale, the quiet pause where the mind's story pauses for a moment. What does end feel like in this breath? Is it a release of tension? A softening of the shoulders? A quieting of the inner voice that says more? It is not a feeling of emptiness, but a deepening of presence. A returning to the calm center where all movement originates. It is the river flowing without separation, without the need to be anywhere else. The end is not a destination, but the very ground beneath your feet, right here, right now. It is the stillness that was always there, waiting for the thoughts to drift away like clouds across a clear sky. This is not something you do. It is simply how you are when you stop trying to hold on. The release is not in the future, but in the quiet space of this breath, this moment, this very presence. As you breathe in, feel the lightness. As you breathe out, feel the freedom. The cycle ends not in a future moment, but here. Each breath is a release. And the next breath, the one you're about to take, will be the same. Gentle release of grasping leads to stillness. As the night deepens and the world settles into its quiet rhythm, notice how the mind often clings to the idea of an end, a destination beyond this very moment. We imagine samsara's end as a distant shore we must reach, a place of perfect peace waiting just beyond the next thought, the next breath, the next hour. Yet the wisdom of the Dharma reveals a different truth. The end of samsara is not a location to be found in the future. It is not a state to be achieved after some great effort or after the last thought has vanished. It is not a place you travel to, but the very ground beneath your feet right now. It is not something you wait for after the current wave of experience has passed, but the stillness within the wave itself. Consider a simple moment on a quiet riverbank at dusk. The water flows steadily, carrying leaves and ripples downstream. Yet the river itself is always here, always flowing. Never separate from the current movement. The leaves may drift away, the ripples may form and dissolve, but the river's essence is the flow itself, present in every gentle motion. Samsara, the endless cycle of grasping and aversion, is like the leaves caught in the current, the ripples of thought and feeling. Its end is not when the leaves finally drift to shore, but when you recognize that you are the river, not the leaves. The river does not seek an end to its flowing, it simply is. So too, the end of samsara is found not in stopping the current of life, but in resting as the current itself, fully present in the flow. Reflect now with gentle curiosity on this truth. How does the concept of end feel when you're not looking ahead, not waiting for some future resolution, but simply resting in the natural unfolding of this breath, this sound, this sensation in your body? Notice the subtle shift when you stop searching for the end and instead find the end already here. The tension in your shoulders may soften. The mind's constant commentary may quiet. The sense of separation dissolving as you realize the river flows without needing to end. The end is not a relief from the current. It is the profound peace of being fully within it, without resistance. There is no after to wait for. The stillness you seek is not hidden in tomorrow. It is the quality of this very awareness as you sit, as you breathe, as the night air moves softly around you. The end of suffering is not a distant mountain. It is the ground you stand on, the air you breathe, the quiet space where thoughts drift like clouds across a vast, clear sky. This is not a new achievement. It is the recognition of what has always been true, what is already here, beneath the surface of your seeking. The mind's habitual patterns of grasping the future or regretting the past dissolve, not through force, but through the simple, patient act of returning to the immediate, the tangible, the unchanging presence of this moment. When you stop pushing away the present and stop chasing the future, the end of samsara is not something you find, it is the natural state that reveals itself when you are no longer looking away. The gentle release that began in quiet observation now deepens into a natural resting, effortless as the river flowing home to the sea. Gentle release becomes effortless. As the evening settles and the world softens into quiet, notice the natural rhythm of your own breath. It flows without effort, without needing to be held or changed. This simple presence, which you discovered in the previous chapter, is the very ground where grasping dissolves. For too long, we have believed that life's currents must be controlled. That meaning must be clutched tightly. That peace must be built from what we hold on to. Yet this very grasping is the root of the illusion we call samsara, the endless cycle of struggle, fear, and separation. When we cling to a thought, a worry, a story of the past, or a need for a future outcome, we create a wall between ourselves and the present moment. We mistake the wall for reality, and so we suffer. Consider the simplest example of release found in nature. Watch a single leaf drift on a calm river. It does not fight the current, does not strain to stay in one place. It simply rests on the water's surface, carried gently by the flow. There is no struggle, no need to grasp the bank. It is already where it needs to be. This is not passive surrender. It is the natural state of being when the illusion of separation fades. The leaf does not lose itself by letting go. It finds its true place within the river's movement. In the same way, releasing what we hold on to is not a loss. It is the quiet discovery of freedom, the space where the river of life can flow freely through us once more. Releasing is not losing, it's finding freedom. So take a gentle moment now, as the night deepens around you. Reflect softly. What are you holding on to that isn't serving you? Perhaps Perhaps it is a worry about what might happen tomorrow, a regret from yesterday, a belief about who you must be, or even a need for things to be different right now. Notice the subtle tightness in your body, the slight tension in your mind as you hold on to this. Feel how it creates a small cage around your breath. Now, imagine releasing just that one thing, not with force, but with a soft, quiet sigh. Let it go like the leaf on the water. You will not fall into emptiness. You will find a deeper stillness, a wider space where you are no longer defined by what you hold. You are simply here, breathing, present. This gentle release is not something you achieve in the future. It is the natural unfolding of awareness right now, as you recognize that the very act of grasping is the barrier. When you stop needing to hold the river, you are already within it. The stillness you seek is not beyond birth and death. It is the quiet center you find when you release the need to be anywhere else. This release deepens the stillness beyond birth and death. As the night deepens and the world settles into quiet, let us gently return to this moment, to the space where all striving fades. You have carried the weight of grasping for so long, perhaps without even noticing how it tightened your shoulders, how it pulled your heart toward a future that never arrives. This clinging, this constant reaching for what feels just out of reach. This is the very root of suffering in the endless cycle of rebirth and samsara. It is not that the world is heavy, but that your holding on to it makes it so. Release, however, is not something you must achieve. It is the natural state of the mind, as natural as the river flowing without needing to hold on to the banks it moves past. The mind, when unburdened, simply is spacious and free. This is not a future state to be chased, but the very ground of your being, already present beneath the surface of your thoughts. Consider the river we spoke of in the last chapter, flowing with effortless grace. It does not cling to the stones beneath it or grasp at the sky above. It simply moves, responding to the path before it without resistance or fear. Its movement is its nature, its peace, its constant companion. Now, bring that same natural flow to your own awareness. Notice how the river does not struggle with its current. It simply is. When you release the need to control what is happening right now, the sound of the night, the feeling in your body, the thought that arises, what happens? There is no struggle, only a softening, a letting go that feels like sinking into warm water. It is not a dramatic event, but the quiet return to what you have always been. So, dear friend, take this gentle moment to reflect. Close your eyes if it feels right, or soften your gaze. Bring your awareness to your body. Notice the places where you might be holding on, perhaps the tightness in your chest, the tension in your jaw, the subtle grip of expectation in your hands. Now, Imagine a soft release there, not forcing it, but simply allowing the tightness to ease, like a leaf floating down from a tree. How does releasing feel in your body? Is it a lightening? A deep sigh you didn't know you were holding? A quiet warmth spreading through your limbs? There is no need to name it, only to notice the quiet relief that comes when the grip loosens. This is not about losing anything. It is about remembering the ease that was always there, beneath the surface of your grasping. This noticing, this gentle release in the body, is the doorway opening. It is the recognition that the mind's natural state is already free, already at peace. You have not been searching for stillness. You have been holding on to the idea of it. Now, as you release the need to grasp even this feeling of release, the river of your awareness flows on, clear and unobstructed. The quiet peace you feel now, this immediate ease, is not temporary. It is the very nature of the mind when it stops fighting itself. As this gentle release becomes your natural state, the stillness beyond birth and death becomes accessible. As the night deepens and the world settles into its quiet rhythm, let the gentle weight of the day dissolve within you. You've already known this peace, the calm that arises when grasping loosens its hold, the deep ease discovered in the simple release of the present moment. This is not a distant state to be reached, but the natural stillness that has always been your true nature, untouched by the shifting tides of life and death. Birth and death, you see now, are not events in the world, but concepts woven by the mind, patterns of thought that arise and fade like clouds across the sky. The stillness you seek is not something to be created or found outside yourself. It is the very ground of your being, as constant and unchanging as the earth beneath your feet. Imagine a still pond reflecting the moon on a clear night. The moon's light is always present, undimmed and whole. Now, drop a stone into the water. Ripples spread out, distorting the reflection for a moment. The moon hasn't changed, but the surface is disturbed. The ripples are like thoughts, like the mental constructs of birth and death, the constant chatter about what was and what will be. They arise, they disturb the surface, but the stillness beneath, the true nature of the water, remains perfectly undisturbed. The ripples fade, the surface calms, and the moon's reflection returns, clear and whole. This is the truth. The mind's surface may ripple with concepts of birth and death, but the deep, unchanging stillness within is never touched by these ripples. It is not affected by the arising or passing of any thought, any experience, any form. So, gently turn your attention inward, not to chase the stillness, but to notice where it already is. When the mind's surface calms, when the waves of thought begin to soften and fade, where do you feel this quiet presence? Not in the head, not in a specific sensation, but as a subtle, deep knowing, a sense of being perfectly whole and complete right here, right now. It's the space between thoughts, the quiet hum beneath the noise, the awareness that simply holds without needing to grasp. It is the stillness you felt when you first released the tightness of the day, the peace that arose without any effort. It is the natural state of your mind when it is not caught in the current of concepts. Reflect on this as you breathe softly tonight, as thoughts settle like dust in a quiet room. Where does the stillness reside? Not in the absence of thought, but in the awareness that remains even as thoughts come and go, like leaves floating on a calm stream. This quiet awareness, this unshakable stillness beyond the illusion of birth and death, is not separate from your life. It is the very ground from which your life unfolds, the silent witness to every moment. It is the wisdom that has been here all along, guiding you home to peace. This stillness guides us to Dharma wisdom for rest. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the quiet space between thoughts, the deep calm that exists before words form. This is not something you must create. It is simply your inherent nature, always present, untouched by the shifting tides of life and death. The illusion of birth and death, the constant grasping at what is fleeting, dissolves when we rest in this ground of stillness. It is not that death does not happen, or that life is denied. Rather, we see through the veil of separation that makes us fear these natural cycles. Birth and death are merely movements within the vast, unchanging stillness that holds all experience. This stillness is the very ground upon which the world appears, like the clear water of a pond holding the reflection of the moon. The moon does not change the water. The water reflects the moon's light without attachment. Similarly, stillness reflects life's moments without grasping or rejecting them. When the mind is calm, the reflection is clear. When the mind churns with thought, the reflection shatters. But the water remains still, even when the surface is disturbed. The disturbance is temporary. The water's nature is stillness. This is the wisdom that transcends the cycle of samsara. It is not a distant goal, but the immediate, felt reality beneath the surface noise of the world. Let your awareness rest here now. Feel the gentle weight of your body supported by the earth. Notice the soft rhythm of your breath, the subtle pulse of life within you, not as something to hold on to, but as a natural expression of the stillness itself. There is no need to chase after peace or fight against the flow of time. Peace is already here, as the quiet space in which all things arise and pass. Reflect for a moment. How does stillness feel when you're not thinking? Not when you're trying to be still, but when you simply stop the mental chatter. It is not an empty void, but a deep, warm, unshakable presence. It is the feeling of being completely at home, right where you are. right now, without needing to be anywhere else. It is the quiet certainty that you are already whole, that you have never been separate from this ground of being. This is the gentle release the Dharma offers, not a struggle to let go, but the natural ease that comes from recognizing what has always been true. The grasping that causes suffering was never real. It was a shadow cast by the mind's own restless movement. When you see through that shadow, the shadow disappears. There is only the clear, still water. You don't have to do anything to be still. You simply need to stop trying to be otherwise. This is the profound simplicity of the teaching. It is not about achieving a special state, but about recognizing the state that has always been your nature. The mind's constant striving fades not through force, but through the quiet realization that you are already resting. As you sit here, breathing gently, feel this stillness not as a thought, but as the very fabric of your awareness. It is the space that holds the sound of the wind, the feeling of the chair beneath you, the memory of yesterday, and the promise of tomorrow, all without being disturbed by them. This is the stillness that transcends birth and death, the unchanging heart of all experience. It is not beyond the world. It is the very essence of the world seen clearly. When you rest in this, you do not need to fear the turning of the seasons or the ending of a moment. You simply are, and that is enough. This stillness is not something you will find in the future. It is the natural guide for every step you take, every breath you take, right now. As this understanding settles deep within, it becomes the quiet guide for your rest, the gentle current that carries you home to your true nature, without effort, without struggle, simply by being. As we rest in the stillness you've already discovered, the deep calm that transcends birth and death, a gentle shift occurs. Rest is not passive. It is active Dharma in action. It is not the absence of effort, but the presence of perfect alignment. When you settle into sleep, not as an escape from life, but as a return to your inherent nature, you are practicing Dharma. You are not merely lying down. You are resting in the natural flow of existence, where the mind's constant pull to grasp or resist dissolves. Peace comes not from forcing calm, but from releasing the need to control the current, allowing yourself to be carried by the river of the present moment. This is the wisdom of samsara understood not as a cycle of suffering, but as the ever-flowing river of life itself, perfectly balanced and whole. Consider the simple act of a leaf falling from a tree. It does not struggle against gravity. It does not fear the ground. It simply releases its hold, follows the path of least resistance, and lands softly. Its fall is not passive waiting. It is the leaf's natural, effortless participation in the turning of the seasons. It is aligned with the flow. Your rest, when approached with this understanding, mirrors that leaf. You are not resisting the night, the quiet, or the gentle fading of thoughts. You are simply allowing yourself to be exactly as you are in this moment, resting in the natural rhythm of your being. This is how Dharma wisdom transforms rest from a pause into a profound practice. Reflect now. How does this wisdom change how you rest? Do you still approach sleep as a task to complete? A space to fill with worry or planning? Or can you feel the shift as you settle, letting go of the need to be anywhere else, to be anything other than resting here, now? When you rest without striving to achieve a particular state of calm, you discover that calm is not something to be gained, but the very ground you already stand upon. It is the stillness you've always been. This is the quiet revolution of Dharma wisdom for restful rest. It is not about sleeping more deeply, it is about resting more fully, knowing that in this very rest, you are already whole, already at peace, already part of the unbroken flow. The illusion of separation dissolves as you rest into your true nature, beyond the concepts of birth and death, simply being. This gentle observation, this quiet noticing of your rest without judgment, deepens this rest. It becomes the natural bridge to the next step of seeing life itself as this flowing, resting river. As the room breathes with quiet, the mind settles like a leaf on still water. This deepening calm is not something you must build or hold on to. It is simply the natural state of being when the constant noise of should and must softens. Dharma is the natural wisdom of the present moment, not a distant teaching to grasp. It is the quiet knowing that arises when you stop pushing against what is. This is the guidance for your rest. It means letting go of the mental constructs we weave, the stories about sleep, the worries about tomorrow, the effort to make rest happen. True rest flows from recognizing that peace is not a destination, but the ground beneath your feet right now. Consider the old monk who sat beneath the ancient pine as dusk settled. His student, restless with thoughts of the day, asked, "How do I find peace in this noise?" The monk simply pointed to a single maple leaf drifting down from the branches. It moved with no effort, no resistance, following the air's natural flow. The leaf did not strive to be still. It was still because it was simply being a leaf. It received the guidance of the wind without thinking, without needing to understand. The student watched the leaf fall, felt the cool evening air, and the frantic thoughts dissolve. He didn't need to do anything. The peace was already present in the observation itself. This is the Dharma's gentle guidance for your night. Reflect now on your own quiet moments. Can you recall a time when guidance came without your effort? Perhaps it was the simple awareness of your breath as you lay down, the soft sound of rain, or the unexpected feeling of warmth spreading through your chest as you stopped fighting the urge to sleep. Maybe it was a moment when you simply noticed the dark window without adding a story, and the tightness in your shoulders eased. That is the Dharma speaking. It is not a voice from outside, but the quiet intelligence of your own being, recognizing the natural flow of the present. The guidance was always here, in the simple act of being present without the need to shape it, to control it, to make it something else. Rest is not passive escape, it is the active, effortless alignment with the natural rhythm of life. It is dissolving the separation between resting and being because you are resting as your inherent nature. You are not striving to become calm, you are simply resting in the calm that is already you. This is the wisdom of Dharma for the quiet night. It is the recognition that you do not need to earn peace. You only need to stop blocking it. Let the weight of the day soften, not through effort, but through the simple, profound act of noticing how deeply you are already at rest. Observing life without judgment becomes effortless. As the quiet settles around you, notice the gentle rhythm of your breath, the soft stillness of the room. This moment is already resting, not as something to achieve, but as the natural ground beneath your awareness. In the quiet of the night, the mind often begins to label and judge the silence, the thoughts, the difficulty of sleep itself. You might think, this rest is not deep enough. My mind is too busy. I should be asleep by now. But these judgments, these mental labels, are the very threads that pull you away from the peace that is already here. Judgment creates separation. It builds a wall between you and the present moment, making rest feel like a distant goal rather than the simple reality of being. Observing life without judgment means seeing things exactly as they are, without adding your story. It is like watching a leaf drift down a stream. You see the leaf, its shape, its movement, its color against the water. You do not think, that leaf is beautiful, or that leaf is falling too slowly. You simply see the leaf as it is, part of the flowing water. In the stillness of your bed, observe your thoughts and sensations without labeling them as good or bad, right or wrong. See the thought, I can't sleep, as just a thought, not a fact. Feel the tension in your shoulders as just a sensation, not a problem to solve. This is not about stopping thoughts, but about seeing them clearly, without the extra layer of judgment that turns a simple sensation into a struggle. When you stop naming things wrong or not enough, the tightness in your chest begins to soften. The mind, no longer fighting what is, finds its own natural calm. Reflect now on your own rest tonight. How does the habit of judgment affect you? When you notice yourself thinking, this is bad sleep, or I should be resting more deeply, what happens inside? Does that thought create more tension, more effort to force calm? Or does it pull you further from the quiet space you are already in? See if you can gently let go of the label bad sleep and simply rest with the feeling of being tired or the feeling of being awake. See the night as it is, not as a performance to be judged, See the breath as it is, not as a measure of progress. This simple act of seeing without adding judgment dissolves the separation. You're not trying to become peaceful. You are remembering that peace is already the space you are resting within. This non-judgmental awareness, this seeing things as they are without the burden of labels, makes the present moment not just a place to be, but your true home. It is the quiet, unshakable ground beneath all the passing thoughts and sensations. You don't need to find rest. You only need to stop building walls between yourself and the rest that is already here. As the night deepens, let this awareness be your gentle companion, dissolving the need to judge and allowing the natural flow of rest to return you to the peace that has always been your home. As the day's final breath settles into the quiet of your room, feel the gentle weight of rest returning to your body. This stillness is not something you must earn. It is your natural state, already present beneath the surface of thought. You have already discovered that peace is not found by forcing calm, but by releasing the subtle resistance that pulls you away from what is. Now, as you prepare to rest, let us gently explore how to observe life with open, non-judgmental eyes. For this is the very essence of resting deeply in the present. Judgment is a habit, a familiar current we follow without question. It arises when the mind labels experiences as good or bad, right or wrong, and in that labeling, it creates a barrier between you and the truth of the moment. You see a thought, a sound, a sensation, and immediately the mind says, "This is bothersome," or "This is pleasant," pulling you into a story rather than allowing the experience to simply be. But the truth is, that judgment is not reality itself. It is a thought about reality. The reality is the sound of your breath, the coolness of the sheets, the quiet hum of the night. Judgment is merely a habit, a way the mind tries to control what cannot be controlled, and it keeps you restless, even as you lie down to sleep. Consider the Zen story of the leaf falling on still water. A monk watches a single leaf drift across the surface of a pond. He does not think, "That leaf is falling too fast," or "the water is too still." He simply observes the leaf's gentle descent, the ripples it creates, the way it meets the water's surface and then vanishes. There is no judgment, only seeing. The leaf's movement is simply what it is, part of the natural flow. This is how you can observe your own thoughts and sensations as you settle into sleep. See the thought, "I should be asleep," not as an enemy to fight, but as a passing cloud. Hear the distant car sound not as an annoyance, but as part of the night's gentle music. Feel the warmth of your body not as a distraction, but as a simple presence. The leaf does not judge its fall, it simply is. Your mind can learn this same openness. So, as you lie here, let your awareness rest gently on your breath. Notice any judgment that arises, the quiet "this is boring," the subtle "I'm not relaxed enough." Acknowledge it softly, like you would notice a bird passing by. Then, let it go. Gently ask yourself, what would I see without judgment? What would the sound of the night, the feel of your body, the quiet of this room be if I simply let them be without adding words? See the impermanence in the very act of observing, the thought that arose, the sound that faded, the breath that flows without effort. Open eyes see the truth of impermanence in every passing moment, not as a concept, but as the living reality of this very breath, this very rest. Resting in this way, without the burden of judgment, you discover that the peace you have been seeking is not out there, not in the absence of thoughts, but right here, in the simple, open observation of what is. The present moment becomes your true home. As you rest in this open observation, notice how the very seeking for a different place to be creates a subtle tension within. We often imagine home as a destination, somewhere safe, familiar, or perfect, always just beyond the next moment. We chase it through the future, through memories, through the illusion of having arrived elsewhere. Yet the truth is simpler, quieter, and always here. Home isn't a location you reach. It's the quiet awareness that is already present, the space where you simply are. The steam rises from your cup, the gentle sound of the wind in the trees, the soft breath moving through your body. These are not distractions from home, they are the very texture of home. When you seek peace in a future calm, or safety in a remembered comfort, you step away from the only place you can ever truly be. This seeking, this restless turning of the mind toward what is not now, is the root of the restlessness we feel. It is the quiet ache of separation from the present moment itself. Consider the simple act of pouring tea. The water boils. The leaves unfurl in the hot water. The steam rises in soft spirals. In that moment, there is no need to think about the next cup or the cup that was just finished. The warmth of the cup in your hands, the focus on the gentle pour, the sound of water meeting leaves. This is the whole of the moment. There is no other moment to be found. The tea ceremony master does not think, soon I will be finished and then I will be at peace. He is already at peace in the act of pouring. His home is the fullness of the present action. The leaves, the water, the steam, the cup, the breath, all are part of the same unfolding, the same true home. There is no elsewhere to be found within this simple, ordinary moment. The seeking for something more, something different, is what makes the moment feel like a place of waiting, not a place of belonging. So pause now, gently. Feel your feet resting on the floor, the air moving across your skin, the quiet rhythm of your own breath. Where do you feel most at home right now? not in the memory of a past comfort, nor in the hope of a future ease. Just here. Notice the softness in your shoulders, the sound of silence around you, the simple fact of your awareness itself. This is not an idea about home. It is the direct experience of being home. The restlessness fades not when you find a new place, but when you recognize that the place you seek has always been the ground beneath your feet, the space of your own presence. The mind that says, "I need to be somewhere else," is the mind that is not at home. The mind that rests in now is already home. When you stop reaching for tomorrow, when you simply rest in the quiet fullness of this moment, the cycle completes. There is no need to chase the next moment, because the present moment is already complete, already whole, already home. The peace that was always here is revealed not by forcing calm, but by releasing the need to be anywhere else. This is the quiet wisdom of the Dharma. The true home is not found beyond the next breath, but within the breath itself. And in that release, the restless seeking dissolves into the deep, unshakable peace of simply being. Settle gently into this quiet hour as the world slows. Feel the soft weight of your body resting, the steady rhythm of your breath moving without effort. This is not a place you arrive at after some distant event. It is the only place you have ever been. The seeking for a home elsewhere beyond this moment, beyond this breath, beyond the next life, keeps us restless within samsara. The endless cycle of grasping and loss. We imagine peace will bloom only when the next chapter begins, when the next mountain is climbed, when the next life unfolds. But the Buddha's teaching is clear. The eternal home is not a future destination. It is the unchanging ground of this very awareness, right here, right now. Eternity is not found in some far-off time. It is found in the unchanging present. Consider the old Zen story of a monk who asked the Buddha, "Where do you dwell?" The Buddha simply pointed to the ground beneath his feet. The monk, searching for a grand spiritual realm, was bewildered. The Buddha's response was simple: home is not somewhere else to be reached. It is where you stand, breathing. This is the wisdom that dissolves the illusion of samsara. When we believe we must find a home in the future, whether in a better life, a perfect moment, or a distant peace, we keep ourselves bound to the restless energy of seeking. We miss the quiet belonging that has always been here, as natural as the air you breathe. Reflect quietly on this. How does the feeling of eternal home differ from the feeling of future home? When you say eternal home, do you sense a deep, unshakable peace already resting within you right now? Or does future home still carry a hint of longing, a quiet tension as you wait for something to arrive? The eternal home is not a promise for later. It is the warmth of your own presence, the quiet space where you simply are. It requires no arrival, no further searching. It is the stillness beneath the surface of all thoughts and feelings, the unchanging awareness that holds everything as it is. This is the quiet truth we forget in the rush of daily life. We chase the next thing, the next feeling, the next life, as if peace were a destination on a distant map. But peace is not found by moving forward. It is found by resting in the ground of your being, right here. The present moment is not fleeting. It is the only true abode. There is no other place to be, no other moment to wait for. The moonlight on your pillow, the sound of distant trees, the soft rise and fall of your chest. This is the eternal home. It is not a concept to grasp, but a reality to simply be. So let the thought of tomorrow gently release, not with force, but with the quiet understanding that the peace you seek is already here, woven into this very breath. Letting go of tomorrow brings peaceful rest. And as the night deepens, feel the quiet belonging settle into your bones, not as a new discovery, but as the home you have always known, always been. The soft glow of the moon spills across your pillow as the house settles into its quiet rhythm. Outside, the night air holds its breath, and within you, a gentle stillness begins to unfold. This is the space where the mind releases its grip on what has not yet come. Tomorrow is not a place you can step into, nor a destination you can reach. It is merely a thought, a shadow cast by the mind's restless habit of projecting itself beyond the boundaries of this very moment. We build elaborate castles of what if and when, yet these structures dissolve the instant they are imagined, leaving only the solid ground of now beneath our feet. The peace we seek is not hidden in the future's promise, but already woven into the fabric of this present night. When we stop clutching at tomorrow's phantom, the weight of anxious expectation lifts. The mind, no longer pulled toward a distant shore, rests in the deep calm of simply being here, now. This is the quiet belonging that has been your home all along. Consider the old monk who sits by his window each evening, watching the stars emerge. He tends his small garden, his hands moving with unhurried care, each action rooted in the immediacy of the task. When asked about the coming week, he smiles softly, his eyes holding the quiet certainty of the evening light. The garden waits for no tomorrow, he says, so why should I? His practice is not to deny the future, but to let it be as it is, a thought without substance, not a burden to carry. He does not waste the precious gift of this night in imagining what might be. Instead, he waters the seedlings, feels the cool earth beneath his fingers, and breathes the night air as if it were the only thing that ever mattered. In that simple act, he embodies the truth, the garden, the earth, the breath. These are his home. Tomorrow is a word, not a reality he must hold on to. And so, his peace is not found in waiting for something new, but in fully meeting what is already here. So tonight, as you lie in the quiet, dark, let the question settle gently within you. What would you do if tomorrow did not exist? Not tomorrow as a concept, but tomorrow as a real, tangible thing that might never come. Imagine the absence of that tomorrow. Feel the lightness in your chest as the need to prepare, to plan, to worry, dissolves. What would you do right now? Perhaps you would simply listen to the sound of your own breath. Feel the softness of your pillow, or notice the quiet beauty of the moonlight on the wall. You would not be seeking something beyond this moment, because there is nowhere else to be. The very act of asking this question releases the subtle tension we carry, the invisible thread that binds us to the future. It is not about ignoring tomorrow's responsibilities, but about understanding that they cannot be carried until they are here. The only place where you can ever truly live, and where you can ever truly be of service, is in the present moment. This is not an escape, it is the deepest form of presence. Releasing the thought of tomorrow is not a grand effort, but a quiet surrender to the reality of now. It is the soft release of a held breath, the gentle letting go of a story that was never true. And in that release, the peace you have been searching for becomes the very air you breathe. This release is the final step in quiet night wisdom. It is the knowing that your true home is not somewhere you are heading, but the very ground you stand upon, right here, right now. The night is deep, the stars are clear, and the only thing you need to do is to be fully, completely here. This is the wisdom that settles the mind, the peace that settles the soul. And in this quiet knowing, the cycle of waiting and worrying finally comes to rest. As we settle into this quiet hour, notice how the mind often holds on to tomorrow like a tight fist. You may find yourself rehearsing conversations, worrying about outcomes, or chasing a future version of peace that remains just out of reach. This grip on what has not yet come is the illusion we've been gently exploring. The future's hold is not a place you can reach, but a shadow the mind casts onto the present moment. It is the invisible thread binding you to a phantom, a story written in worry rather than reality. Release it not by pushing thoughts away, but by resting softly in what is already here. Feel the weight of that future thought in your shoulders, the tightness in your chest, the restless energy in your hands. Now, simply soften. Let the breath deepen naturally. Allow the mind to rest, as the earth rests under the moon. There is no need to build a new home for yourself elsewhere, because the ground you stand on is already whole. The present moment is not a temporary stop on a journey to somewhere else. It is the only true home you have ever known. It is the stillness beneath the ripples of thought, the quiet certainty in the space between breaths. To release the future is not to ignore life's path, but to walk it with open hands. It is to pour tea without thinking of the next cup, to listen without planning your reply, to simply be present with what is, as the tea warms your hands and the steam rises in the quiet air. This is how the Zen master moves through the world, without the burden of tomorrow, fully inhabiting the now. Reflect now on your own body. Where do you feel the weight of the future? Perhaps it's a tightness in your jaw, a shallow breath, or a constant hum of anxiety in the chest. Now, gently invite that tension to soften. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your hands rest lightly on your lap or your knees. Feel the support of the chair beneath you, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the quiet rhythm of your breath. This is not a mental exercise, it is a physical release. The future's hold dissolves when you truly feel the solid ground of the present. You are not waiting for peace to arrive, you are already resting within it. The mind may still whisper of what comes next, but the body knows the truth. This moment, exactly as it is where peace has always been. There is no need to chase a future home because the present moment is already the shelter you seek. The stillness you long for is not ahead, it is here, now, in the quiet space between thoughts, in the space where you simply are. This is the quiet night's final wisdom.